Aha! This is the perfect way to give Vanessa and Craig a week off and celebrate the beginning of Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary with the people that were there. I thought it was a really good idea. So we'll find out about that later, but it'll all be my fault if it's not. Okay.
I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing, that it was all started by a mouse.
Hello, everyone out there in podcast land. This is the Beyond the Mouse podcast, the podcast for all things Disney for NPR Illinois Community Voices and the Front Row Network. I'm Brett, and my regular co-hosts Craig and Vanessa are taking this week off. A little bit more on that later, because I'm here with some friends of the podcast who were actually at Walt Disney World on October 1st for the beginning of the 18-month Walt Disney World 50th anniversary celebration, the world's most magical celebration. Oh, well, welcome to the podcast. Let's make some introductions. Okay. So my newest friend here is Melissa. And can you tell us just a little bit about you? You came from Canada. And I've got to tell you this. We met in line for, waiting for the Skyliner going to Disney Hollywood Studios. So I kind of was a little out of my comfort zone, but I'm like going, that's the best thing about talking when you're talking to people in line and all this, you're all Disney fans, and that's what's so great. I mean, in our regular lives, if we find out that someone is a Disney fan, it's like going, oh my gosh, someone to talk to. But you can do that at Disney World, and I did that. So thank you, Melissa, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Brett. It was definitely a lucky circumstance that we were both very early for the Skyliner that morning.
Yes.
Had time to chat. So yeah, as Brett mentioned, I'm from Canada. So I flew in from Ottawa for the 50th, and I was there for about a week, and it was a great time. So
wow.
I'm excited to talk about it.
And you were very careful with your COVID masking and all of that, because in order to return to your beloved Canada, you had to test negative, right?
Yeah, 72 hours before I flew back, I had to get a PCR test. And had I tested positive, I would have had to stay for 2 weeks in Florida on my own dime. So I was full mask probably 95% of the time that I was there.
That's good. Well, yeah. Well, we had a great time, and briefly with me, but Melissa had not been on Rise of the Resistance yet. And so I had to not say anything, because I'm like, and not only were you not on Rise of the Resistance, you had kept yourself pure for the experience. You didn't watch any pictures or any videos or anything like that. So I was like going, don't spoil it. But we got to write it together, because I was going to the studios for Rise of the Resistance and you were, and so that was great. So yeah. So what was Rise of the Resistance like for you?
I know it was amazing. Yeah.
You did the jaw drop. I'm like going, we've all done that. So that was great.
Yeah. I did a lot of forwarding in YouTube videos, a lot of skipping of Instagram stories prior to this, and it was worth it. I'm so glad that I, just saw it for the first time, and Brett was taking photos for me because I didn't want to interrupt my experience at all. Yes. I just wanted to experience it, and it was amazing. It was my favorite ride for sure. Yeah, and I got to try all the new stuff, so that was great.
Oh, that is great. Okay, so Melissa, and then our next friend here is Brittney, and we've done theater together, but you're from Central Illinois as well. So say hi to our podcast friends.
Hello, everyone. This is my first podcast ever.
Well, welcome. It's my first podcast too. Well, my first hosting, so it could be crazy. But thank you. Yeah. Well, we actually had dinner. Yeah, we actually had dinner at Boma. So what was that experience like for you?
Oh my goodness. I love Animal Kingdom. I love Animal Kingdom Lodge. And we just hadn't had a chance to try that restaurant yet. And so at your nudging, and you got the much coveted reservation. That was hands down one of my favorite Disney dining experiences we've had so far.
Oh, that's great.
Of course, the company was fantastic, but the company
was good. So.
Thank you. And our waiter was phenomenal, and the wines, and the food.
So good. and the food, and we tried a little bit, and then went back and tried a little bit more. Great.
We had a perfect food coma, so we could get a good night's sleep. And
Yeah.
then like, it was like prep carb loading for a marathon. I think
Exactly.
we had like
Exactly.
30,000 steps the next day. So we needed every bit of that Boma buffet to get through it.
Wow. Yeah. Because the next day was the first,
Yeah.
that was the big day. But John, sorry to get to you and sorry to kind of, go off on tangent one and tangent five and all of that sort of stuff. But so John, which you're also known professionally as Big Fat Panda.
How dare you?
I'm like going, well, I have to call you John because, because I mean, you're fine with Panda, you're fine with John.
Panda's good.
It's all good. So all of your friends call you various names, but I'm calling you John. But welcome to the podcast again. You've been here before.
Yeah.
So this is like this is like your third return, maybe?
Maybe
Third.
3 or 4, I think.
Yeah. And then, he also has trivia on about every other Tuesday, but he'll tell you all about that a little bit and all of his other ways to reach him. So it's lots of fun. It is so fun to have you all here. Now
Thank you.
let's get to it. Oh, I know. I wanted to do a little bit of behind the scenes here at the podcast. Now, this was my third trip to Walt Disney World this year. And at Beyond the Mouse, we have done trip reports pretty much at least 2 of the times. And I also went to Disneyland in July. So we had to do, Avengers Campus and all of that. So when Craig found out that I was going to Walt Disney World for the 50th, he kind of said, and honestly, I will give you the interpretation. It was like, so, are we doing another trip review? And I'm like going, well, it's Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary. Yes, we are. But that was kind of sticking in the back of my head. And so when I saw all of you, met you, Melissa, saw you, Brittney, and then had the meetup, your meetup with John in Tomorrowland, I'm like going, aha. This is the perfect way to give Vanessa and Craig a week off and celebrate the beginning of Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary with the people that were there. I thought it was a really good idea. So we'll find out about that later, but it'll all be my fault if it's not. Okay.
It's a good idea.
Here we are. So, before we do, we have a little bit of Beyond the Mouse and the Front Row Network traditions that we have. So with Melissa, since it's your first time here on Beyond the Mouse, we need to ask what your favorite film is. And then also, if your favorite film is not a Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm, what is your favorite Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm? And, when you get to your favorite Disney, you can kind of have a couple of them. But what are your favorites there? First of all, your favorite film altogether.
Yeah, favorite film, probably Elf. That's I love that one. I watch it multiple times at Christmas, also for Christmas in July. So I feel like Buddy is somebody I really identify with.
Oh, that
not
is
so
cool.
much the maple syrup on spaghetti. That's not like a Canadian thing, but more so just his exuberance. So that's probably my favorite movie. Yeah.
Right. And then favorite Disney, Pixar, Marvel,
This is hard, of course.
Okay, yeah,
as you said, you got to have multiples. So my favorite classic is The Lion King. It was one of the first ones I saw when I was a kid. Absolutely love it. But probably overall, Up would be my favorite movie. That's the one I can watch over and over again and love it every time.
Great. Oh, now Brittney. Okay. So first of all, your favorite film. And I gave you a little bit of preview of this because you said you have a hard time, choosing those sort of things. So I gave you a little bit of heads up on this. So that's not normally what we do, but I'm hosting, so the rules are mine this week. So, so Brittney, what is your favorite film?
Well, I appreciate the heads up because when somebody says, what's your favorite? I just look like a deer in headlights because I just love soaking up the world around me and I can't pick just one. So truly my favorite film that I keep going back to, it's one from the 90s. It's Only You with Marissa Tomei and Robert.
Oh my gosh. Yes, that's one of my favorites too. Absolutely.
I'm a romantic. I love shoes. I love travel. It's got like it all right. And like I had a huge crush on Robert Downey Jr. Even cut my hair like Marissa Tomei in that movie right after. So it's obsession level.
That is okay. Well, obsession level, yeah, you're in the right place. And then as far as I love that film too, it's one of my favorites. I love that. Okay, now I'm gonna have to watch it. But what's your favorite Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm? That one.
Okay, well, continuing on with the theme of shoes, Cinderella is like that is the one that I remember the most vividly as a child. Like I just loved that film. I just remember all the scenes from it. It like imprinted on my brain, and the music and it was the true first fairy tale. So yeah, but I love the Toy Story series. You know, you just can't beat that. So.
Well, you have them all covered, and all of these are great. All of these are great choices, and I'm glad that you share those with us. So let's get to business here, because so getting ready for October 1st, 2021. Like any Walt Disney World trip, generally it takes a little bit of extra planning. And especially during our current situation, I'll give you mine real quick. Last year in 2020, I had plans to go to Walt Disney World a number of times. In fact, I changed my reservations before my January trip. I changed my reservation 21 times. And part of that, there were some OCD weekends where I'm not going. But it was 21 times before I finally went. But last year, when am I going? The October dates became available. And I'm like going, well, I'm going to be there October 1st, 2021. Hopefully, but I'm going to have the reservation. So that's what I did. But those were sort of my plans. But let's get to you all. Melissa, you said that you're from Canada. So, and you mentioned that you had some kind of extra things that you had to be mindful of coming here. But when did you decide to come to Walt Disney World for the 50th?
So I also booked, I think it was the day after they opened, because of course, when they opened here, I had no idea right at that point, people weren't traveling. We were in like full lockdown, but with Disney, you can cancel at any point, change at any point. So I booked it and I got that park pass, and I kind of just held on to it. Wasn't sure if I was going to have a vaccine. Wasn't sure if I was going to be able to go, what the regulations were. At one point in Canada, you had to pay to stay in a hotel when you came back in quarantine for 3 to 7 days, depending on how you tested, which was an extra cost. Luckily, a lot of this kind of worked itself out as we got closer, and I just kept holding on. So for me, the only extra thing that I had to do prior to flying down was I had to do a COVID test. So it was a bit sketchy online, whether it was PCR or rapid to go to the United States. So I just did the PCR. I think the rapid probably would have been just as valid, but I wanted to make sure I had what I needed, and that's the Big Daddy. So that's the one that I booked. And I did that 3 days before, uploaded it when I checked in for my flight, and everything was smooth from there. So
wow,
that was great.
I was so impressed when you said that you were from Canada. I'm like going, oh, she is a fan, because she is not joking. She is here at Walt Disney World, had to make extra plans and go take extra steps. And so I was most impressed. I was impressed by pretty much everything you were telling me when we were waiting for the Skyliner. Maybe mostly because our visiting styles, our Disney World planning is like very similar. Early morning, do this, do that, do that. So I'm like going, she's good because she's just like me. So Brittney, you had plans for a long time too. What were your plans like?
Yeah, so we knew we wanted to be there on the 1st. And so we actually booked, you can book 499 days in advance of your vacation. So I believe it was May of 2020. We booked our stay, and I booked a really long stay because I wanted the flexibility to move the dates up or back depending on school schedules, work schedules, all of that stuff. So the hotel was booked. And then the minute we could get our tickets and our park reservations, we did that. The minute dining opened up, I usually create an Excel spreadsheet where I have like all the park hours and all the show and parade times and where I want to dine, and it's all color coded. And the park reservation system kind of changed that a little bit this year. Yeah. And obviously availability of dining was a little bit slimmer. And so I did it on a piece of poster board and color coded it and could move the Post-its around very quickly as I was calling at 6 a.m. and going online to make my reservations.
Wow. I'm impressed again. Gosh.
Yeah, it was a bit insane, but
yeah,
we were excited. Okay. We knew this was a once in a lifetime thing, so we had to be there.
Oh, that is so great. Now, John, I mean, this is kind of, well, this is your world, as they say. Disney World is your world. Did that show anyway? But so you not only, I mean, I'm sure that you were planning on being there on October 1st, but you were invited to the press events that happened right before, and so that was kind of like a marathon week for you. What was that like?
It was crazy. First of all, let me just say that I feel like Brittney gets contacted by Disney when the Genie app comes out, because that is impressive what she goes through.
Very
I'm
impressive.
I'm impressed at all that. But
Yeah.
yeah, they this was September, what is it? The 29th and 30th were the events. So they were already, I knew I was going to be tired, but I knew I was going to be there for the first. Whether or not they had the event, I had my reservation for the first. Yeah, the 28th, the 29th, I should say, started at Epcot. It was nice for us where they did us from, they call it, I love this, they make it so official, content gathering, where they make the content gathering free flowing. Whereas you have these appointments to go to different places, like you go to the back of Test Track and you see Guardians of the Galaxy, but you can still walk up to any of the content gathering locations and get what you need, even if you don't have the appointment. But you're going back and forth between there and the Contemporary as your main hub. And then the next day was Magic Kingdom, so that was a lot easier to go back and forth. So yeah, they did a lot of stuff. My only regret is they did a lot of stuff then, but not a lot of stuff for the actual first.
Yeah, we're probably going to talk a little bit about that, because you've gotten us to October 1st. Now, as Brittney said, we had dinner at Boma, and I probably should have gone right home, to my room at Pop Century, because it was going to be an early morning, and we will be getting into that here very shortly. But I had a friend. Okay, so I had my friend Gary, and do you want it? Invited me. He works at Walt Disney World, and he has a wonderful job there. As a cast member, and he said, well, I'm going to go see Harmonious, and I'm like going, well, I haven't seen Gary and I haven't seen Harmonious, and I know it's like right before the reason that I'm being here, but I'm going to be a trooper. It's going to be okay. And so I went to Harmonious after Boma, and we'll talk about that very shortly. But yeah, so I got to my room 11:30, and then woke up at 3:00 without an alarm, because I'm hardwired for this stuff. So that was my experience. So now let's move on to October 1st. We were there. So it's about getting there. Now, Melissa, we had kind of strategized, so what time are you going to get there? This was so funny, because you said, so what time are you going to be there? And I said, oh, I'm thinking 5:30. And then you said, oh yeah, 5:30. And I mean 4:30. I'm going to be there 4:30, so I felt as though there was a little bit of a throwdown in a very kind sort of Disney way. But yeah, so how was your night? Did you eat the night before, or did you get lots of sleep, or what was your morning like?
I did try to go to bed early. So I went to Disney Springs that afternoon after we went to Hollywood Studios, and had kind of a late lunch, early dinner, met up with some friends, got some Gideon's cookies, which were delicious.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so those were really good. And then I headed back, and I was like, I'm going to go to bed early. But then I was trying to decide what time to get there, based on our conversation. So I think I set my alarm for 4 a.m. So I woke up at 4 a.m. and I was trying to get there before 5. But I think you texted me at like 4:45. It was like as I was about to leave.
Yes.
And you said there's a whole bunch of people here already. And I was like, oh no, I'm too late. But luckily you had gotten there. And so I was able to jump in the line with you, which was great.
Well, we made a pact, whoever gets there first, which that was definitely the throwdown. Oh, you're going to get there early. So I'm like, well, anyway, it's not really a competition, but I enjoy your, spunk and determination, and mine too, because I got up at 3, and then since we're kind of telling the story and we stayed at the same resort, we'll go to me briefly here. I said, got up at 3, got ready, got down there, about 4:30, or between 4:30 and 4:45, and then texted you. I'm like going, are you here? And when you weren't, I'm like going, haha. Anyway, I won, but it was not really a competition. Sorry, just kidding. And so I was very happy to save a place for you. We talked to some wonderful people, and then the bus came. But, oh my gosh, Brittney, that was not your situation. was it? I mean, we were
No.
texting back and forth. So how did you get to the
Well,
Magic
I'll
Kingdom?
back it up by saying we were supposed to stay at Art of Animation. There were 6 of us in our travel party. And when we moved our dates around, we had like an extra day to cut off, and they could not cut off that day. We were going to lose the whole reservation. They were like, nope, it's not available. I'm like, but it's the room we're in. We just don't need the last day. So we ended up moving over to Saratoga like a week before and using DVC points, which was, hey, fun. Let's do that. There's more room. But we were in Congress Park, so we were the second to last bus stop.
Oh, wow.
We were there an hour and a half with no buses. No buses. And people were walking to the other bus stops and weren't able to get on. Had I really thought about it, I would have Ubered, but we would have had to Uber super early because we would have been stuck in traffic. And so we just kind of waited, and we kept seeing Epcot buses and Animal Kingdom buses and Hollywood Studios buses. They're empty, completely empty. So there was almost a mutiny.
Yeah.
It got pretty tense there for a while. And so we arrived. I didn't know if there was going to be a castle welcome show. They were really ambiguous about what was going to happen. And we didn't want to miss the thing.
Right.
And so a little bit of heartbreak as we walked under the train station and saw the fireworks. And we're like, oh, we just missed it. We just missed it. But they were like, no, you didn't miss anything. It's fine. So
they
then
were accidental fireworks. They were just kind of...
Oh, really?
Yes.
And they were random. They were kind of going off throughout the day, startling people that were posing, which was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But, as it turned out, we didn't miss anything and we enjoyed the rest of our day. But definitely took some extra precautions the next day so we wouldn't miss the early queue for Rise of the Resistance.
Good.
Because of that experience. So.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So we were on property, but John, you were safe at home. How did you get in? How did you get in? And what was that? I mean, there were a lot of people trying to get into the park. So I imagine that, parking was challenging, maybe.
It was easy, and I don't know why.
Oh, wow.
I'm about 35 minutes from the Magic Kingdom. I drove in. I didn't see much traffic. It probably was about 5 a.m. when I drove in. And it wasn't bad. I went through the toll booth, the guard booth, and I parked. I walked up and I saw a lot of people. I was with a lot of people walking to the Magic Kingdom. Again, I could not find a cast member that knew anything was happening. And a couple of my friends said, the problem is nothing is happening. We don't understand. There's nothing on the schedule. And I can only imagine they did that because they didn't want to say that they encouraged people to gather because of COVID. Meanwhile, we were all gathered anyway.
Yes, right.
It doesn't matter. I mean, Happily Ever After, a couple of nights previous, gathered us. Enchantment gathers us. So I didn't get it. But it was the regular welcome show that you'd see at any time, even though it was new.
It was new. Yeah, it was new. And I understand it was, now we are. So we're all in the park here, right? Yeah, Melissa. Oh, yeah, Melissa, I was saving a little place for you, but you found your friends. But you're all in the park. So we are all now. Picture it, if you will. It's October 1st, 2021, and the 4 of us are in the Magic Kingdom to begin the 50th celebration. Okay, so now what happens? That's what happened. Okay, so there was not much. I'm going, all these people were here. Some people, would go into, they were going to go ride the rides. I'm going, what is this? This is the moment. This is a moment. There's got to be something, we were all there as Ginger Z was doing her little intros to, I'm sorry, that sounded slightly condescending, her wonderful intros for Good Morning America and the Fab 5+2. I don't know. Well, they added Chip and Dale, and it was Mickey and, it was everyone that you'd expect in their 50th special costumes, which are so cool. So we had Ginger Z and everyone was kind of back by the partner statue. No one was any closer because that's where they were doing the filming. So the anticipation. So what was that like for you all? For the anticipation for what's to come?
I think because they pulled out the stops the night before, they didn't do anything. We saw Bob Iger and we saw Bob Chapek, and they rededicated the Magic Kingdom. I would have expected that the morning of the first. Christina Aguilera came out and belted her heart out. I would have expected a little bit of that on the first.
Yeah.
It was still great to be there, though.
It was great to
day.
be there. It was funny after they did the filming. I don't know if everyone rushed the stage because something's going to happen. Let's be there for it, And you see the video, see the YouTube videos of this throng. It's like unleash the guests, whoosh, and we all go toward the castle stage, and we do see the welcome show, and it's the new welcome show. It's the first time they've done that, for the longest time because of our current situation, and then there was nothing.
Nothing.
I know. There was nothing, and people were just kind of hanging out. So it was more than slightly anticlimactic.
Especially as someone who was there for the 25th.
Oh,
I was
I'm
there
sure.
October 1st for the 25th. When I tell you, there was 1,000 trombones coming down Main Street, and
oh wow,
every character and every celebrity in the world it was just crazy. This was, flyovers of jets and things. This was just very different.
Yeah. Well, these are different times, but I was expecting, Bob Chapek or Josh D'Amato, because they were there. I mean, they were doing press afterwards. Now, I have a theory. And again, I tried to keep this since this is my podcast today with the three of you, I keep things as positive as I can, but I also want to do some truth telling too, or at least our opinions, because our opinions matter, because
Absolutely.
we are some serious Disney fans. My guess is that they did not have upper management, Bob Chapek, come out and do any sort of greeting because, number one, everything was live streamed. Everyone had their, but there was a moment for perhaps an unfortunate PR experience.
Throwing of tomatoes?
Well, some booing. I'm thinking some booing and some that sort of thing, which would have absolutely been viral. And so I'm thinking that upper management was scared of the situation because of their decisions that they're making that not everyone is happy with. And there's a lot of people that are not happy with it. And so I think that's, rather than having anything, but not even a recorded announcement, who are we getting now celebrating, or just, play on video screens,
the announcement came, remember?
Oh, was it like at noon though? It was
Yes.
not right then.
It was a complete afterthought. I think they heard us all complaining.
Oh,
They said,
I bet.
we
Yeah.
have to give something. So it was a simple announcement that was not pre-done. It was probably done an hour before we heard it.
Yep. Well, see, yeah, I don't think maybe I was napping then, or I was with, my other friends then. Oh, so anyway, I'm sorry. I'm sounding like Craig. I'm just talking so much. So what did you all think? So John, you did the, so
I was disappointed, but I enjoyed just the
Right.
energy
Just
of being there and seeing you and everybody. It was good.
Oh, what about you, Melissa?
Yeah, I was definitely disappointed. I mean, I think for me, being in that crowd was a risk that I took
Right.
because I
Yes,
thought there was
exactly.
going to be something.
Right.
And I had my face shield on. I was like
Yes, you
ready
did.
to go. You saw this,
Mhm.
Brett.
Yes.
And then for it to not be anything, I was like, why did I make that choice? But you didn't
Well,
know,
yeah.
right?
You didn't
Because
know.
I assume they would at least say something, right?
Yeah.
That at least
Happy
somebody would come out
anniversary.
and say happy anniversary, like something would
Right.
happen.
Something.
And we were all just very confused. I was in that rush to the stage. We were
Yeah.
ready, like with my group
Right.
of friends, and then nothing. And everyone
Nothing.
just stood there afterwards, confused.
It was extremely anticlimactic, and we all just kind of, drooped our heads.
Maybe it's the wrong date.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what's that? Everybody else was there too. What's going on? I don't know.
And Brittney,
So-
you said that. Where were you during that? Did you rush the stage and all that fun stuff too?
We got to kind of that center hub after the craziness and when
Uh-huh.
everybody was starting the disbursement.
Yeah. Well,
and
you didn't miss
so-
anything.
Yeah, we were, it reminded me of some of my first trips to Disney before we were like Disney savvy, where you're kind of looking around, taking it all in, and you're like, I'm overwhelmed, but I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, but I
Right.
feel like I'm missing out. We're in that like weird Disney-esque world right now where
Mhm.
like those of us who are planners, like I know where I'm going and when.
Right.
And this put me back into kind of taking a step back. And, we prepped everybody in our travel party and we said, look, we may only ride 2 rides all day. It's going to be insane. There's going to be people pressed against us and the lines are going to be crazy and it's going to be hot. Like this is not going to be a typical Disney experience. Well, it wasn't, but it wasn't what we expected.
Right.
So we just decided, hey, the wait times are short. We love the rides. Let's just go do the rides and just make the most of it and have a really good time. And we did. I mean, obligatory Space Mountain first. Like, you're not at Disney until you're on a Space Mountain, being silly in front of the camera. So yeah, it was, once we kind of felt like we had missed out and then we didn't know what was next, we just completely switched gears and just said, let's take advantage of the short wait times and have a blast. And we did.
Well, that's, again, I'm with 3 Disney savvy travelers, because you just adjust. It is fun being here. It is an amazing day, and it's going to be a long day, and we have enchantment to see this evening, but we've got to make the most of it. So that's I think the short lines was so crazy. I mean,
and if I may, real quick,
sure.
And I have to say, there's been very little spontaneity in our Disney visits in the last couple of years. And I feel like there's not going to be much spontaneity once the full capabilities of Disney Plus or Disney Genie and Genie Plus roll out. And so this was like this weird moment in time where we kind of got to do that. And, even though we were ordering ahead in the mobile app to have our food, we didn't have to have the reservation. We didn't have to have the fast pass. And then we had the short wait times on top of it. So it was the perfect time to be spontaneous.
It was.
And not have to plan and be super planning. And that was all thanks to the popcorn people.
Oh my gosh, yes. So that was kind of my next topic. So when you're walking down Main Street, and I mean, it's one of my favorite things, on anniversary days or any, special days, when the cast members are along the side of the street with their Mickey gloves on, and they're either saying welcome home and all this. Every time, I've experienced that at Disneyland, and then hear this, I'm like going, it's hard not just to go, I'm going to try to keep myself together, but this is a really, important day. And to see all the cast members, and you can just feel it. Wasn't there a feeling in the air really that day?
Absolutely.
The whole day, especially at the beginning, because I mean, that's my favorite part because of the day anyway. It's because it's about the anticipation of what the day might bring. But so that was good. But yeah, let's get to the shopping. Okay. You mentioned the popcorn buckets, which, we're very thankful that the shoppers were there because it made riding attractions that much easier. But there were like huge lines on both sides of the street. There were virtual queues. There were throwing babies in the air. There were fights at I don't know. We heard that there was, there were altercations.
There were arrests made at the
really
at the Emporium, yeah.
At the Emporium, because
it was for the Starbucks mugs. For the Starbucks mugs.
That was what it was about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because that wasn't even the exclusive day of merchandise. That was it's been here for weeks merchandise.
Wow. Oh,
the lady on the way out, when there was a line at the Emporium, just said, "Ladies and gentlemen, the line to get into the Emporium is an hour. Please know that this is an 18-month celebration." And nothing is really going to sell out. We will restock. I understand some people are there, just for the day, and they can't come back. They're flying back to wherever. But for the most people, you can come back within 18 months, probably.
Yeah. It was amazing to see that because it went on for hours, for hours. And then they went away. And then the next challenge presented guests at Walt Disney World, in the Magic Kingdom on October 1st was the ability to eat, because now everyone does mobile ordering, but mobile ordering had its big challenges that day, which is so, it's so unfortunate because there are Disney fans that will take, whatever it is, this is ruining my day. Rah, 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 rah. I'm like going, and it would certainly put a dent in it. And if you were up at 3 or 2 or 5 in the morning and you wanted to eat and you couldn't, that's got to be a little sad too. But did everyone get to eat?
Yes. It was a 2-hour wait for mobile order at Cosmic Rays. Yes.
Cosmic Rays. And Melissa, did you get to eat?
So we got the cinnamon rolls from Fire Nooks. So that had just not a huge line when we got there. So that was great. It was not one of those huge ones, or sorry, guest ones. So we got those. And then I actually had a dining reservation. So at Skipper
Ooh.
Canteen, one of my friends had gotten a dining reservation.
Sure.
So jumped in on that, which was great. But I had done a mobile order for dinner, but I kind of ended up switching my plans later in the day, which we can talk about as we get there.
Sure.
So I didn't have to kind of fight the crowds. I did have friends who just ended up canceling and walked over to the Contemporary, went to the Contempo Cafe, got food that way. Because same thing, 2 hours at Columbia Harbor House, 2 hours at Pecos Bills, even if you had your you'd already mobile ordered.
Right.
So.
Yes. And Brittney, did you get to eat there that day?
We did. We had somebody with a severe dairy allergy in our group, and someone who has a gluten allergy, and then the rest of us didn't care. We just wanted booze. So we were very happy with the mobile ordering. We knew to do it early. So we ate at Pinocchio's Village House.
Wow. Well, good. So, and John, did you get to eat?
Yeah. Well, I told you.
Oh,
Cosmic
that's right.
Rays,
Yeah,
but I did have
Cosmic Rays,
dinner
2 hours.
also at Skipper Canteen. Some friends had a reservation. Melissa, what time were you there?
I was there at 11:30, so I was doing the lunch hour, which is perfect.
I was there for dinner.
Good.
I was going to say,
I love that.
Sat next to each other.
Yeah.
And Skipper Canteen generally is a restaurant, is a full service restaurant in the Magic Kingdom that is a lot of times not too difficult to get a advanced dining reservation for, which is a good thing because it's great. I love it. It tastes like chicken because it is.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah,
me too. That's what I got.
And the congalouche dessert, well, that was good. Yeah, that was when when the meal plan was here, and I'm like going, okay, I'll have dessert. So, but what did I have? Well, kind of. Yes, so it was Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary, but it was also a reunion for cast members, for entertainment cast members. And I was not in because there was the group that I was visiting with was Tencennial. So this was the 40th anniversary of Tencennial, and everyone looked great. So, so I performed in Walt Disney World is Your World at the Tomorrowland stage years after the Tencennial. But so they brought me into their group because my friend Cindy said, and Cindy is super cool. And if anyone asked me, I'm like going, you didn't do Tencennial. I'm like going, Cindy has grandfathered me in, and Cindy is cool. And they would have just gone, oh, okay. They really would, because she is that cool. So, so I met up with them at, like kind of noonish, and spent so much time with them. And it was fun because it was like we were in our home park where we, did late night rehearsals and parades and shows. And it was just so fun to see so many people again. And so I spent a lot of that day with that, like the majority of that day. So my dining experience was, we saw all of the mobile ordering issue going on. And we ate at the Tortuga Tavern across from the Pirates of the Caribbean, and there was no, because it's kind of open up during different times of the day during like lunch hours and that sort of thing. So there was no mobile ordering there. So we were a group that got to eat there, and that was a really good thing. So I'm glad to see that we all ate that day. So that was good. The other thing, but that day before I met up with my friends, I met in person John, big fan Panda, for the first time in real life. And he was there with his people, and they were just, and the love was there. And it was so cool to see you and meet you in person. That was fun.
Thank you.
Then I had to go, which was entirely sad. But I'm meeting up with my friends. Here.
I got to say, though, I was overwhelmed because I've never had a meetup, and I just decided to have one because I didn't want to let anybody down who said, hey, let's meet. And I couldn't. But then when I was seeing so many people so quick and finding out who they were. I know, but when I saw you with the mask on, it took me maybe 4 seconds to go, Brett.
Yes,
and I was so excited.
I was in complete
yes, that's right.
So.
I was so excited. Thank you. I was so excited to see you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you said you're staying to go to ride.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put that pressure on.
No, because everyone was going to the Carousel of Progress and sing, and I'm like going, my heart is in the Carousel of Progress because it was the first attraction that my parents and I went on at Disneyland in 1927. And so it has, so to sing with you, that'd be great. But I'm like going, I haven't seen my friends for a long time. So I felt so bad. But I'm like going, but I left you the dust and I met my friends.
I'll show you a video someone took. We did wind up about 45 people singing Carousel of Progress. Loud as we turned. It was fun.
That is great. Now, see, those are like those special things that may not happen every day, but on the anniversary. So did you notice any, the three of you, did you notice any spontaneous extra things that day? Brittney, why don't we go to you first? What was the atmosphere like that day? We talked about kind of this feeling in the air, but what was your experience like throughout the day?
It was really neat because one of the people in our travel party had not been in quite a few years. And when she was last there, she had her 18-month-old with her. So she didn't really get to experience Disney at all. She kind of set out while everybody else enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. And so similar to what you were saying with Melissa on Rise of Resistance, getting to see Disney through the eyes of somebody who's there for the first time, sort of, was really magical. Her enthusiasm was super contagious. And just that like giddiness that we all get, like it was 10 times for her. Oh. So that was a lot of fun.
That is
and
fun.
Just, the ambiance was very celebratory. It felt kind of like Disney's post-COVID coming out party. Mm-hmm. We were there last year during COVID and it just seemed really muted. Mm-hmm. It's like the colors weren't as bright. The sugar wasn't as sweet. It was still Disney and it was wonderful, but it was kind of somber. And so to get to come and feel the frenetic energy, sometimes the violent energy or anticipation, was really cool.
That is good.
Brittney, it did feel like a change in the air that day. It did. Mm-hmm. Something switched. A switch went on.
Yeah, it's like we're back. Yeah. We're moving forward. We're going to party. We made it through. We're stronger than ever. And I feel like that was just the start, and it's just going to grow and blossom from there. And I can't wait to see what rolls out over the next 18 months with the live entertainment and, the street performers. I'm just really excited.
Me too.
Yeah. And Melissa, what was your day like? You went through a lot to be there. So I'm hoping that there was some extra special magic in the air for you too.
Yeah, I think for me, so part of the reason I came was I had made a group of friends through an online Disney group sort of over COVID. We kind of created the group right at the beginning and we'd gotten really close through Zoom, mostly during that time. And so for me, it became a lot more about being with those people. So this was kind of the first day where I got to meet a lot of them. We would even like run into each other, which the number of people in the park was crazy, and like trying to recognize people. Nobody knew who I was because I was wearing a mask. I had to keep taking it off, but I could recognize everybody else. And so it became a lot more about that and just being able to do things with them and be flexible. And like Brittney said, I think we were kind of in this nice point of where it didn't really matter if you had plans or you didn't have plans, because you could be spontaneous, which being with a group of people who had kind of come together for the first time in person, that was great. We were able to kind of hang out and do different things together. So I think that was the magic on that day for me, more than whatever Disney was doing at that time.
Yeah. I think that was true for me too, because I was with friends that, I'm kind of Brittney, I'm kind of like you, and I do this and I do this and I do this. And actually I'm like, I go to the parks early, I kind of do everything I want to do, and then I leave, kind of early, which that might be upsetting to some, but hey, that's the way I roll. I get there early. I check everything off that I want to do that day, and then I go back and sleep when because I need a nap. But I'd spent a lot of the day with my friends, and that kind of moves on to our evening entertainment, because as the day goes on, we're writing things that we're just astonished that there are no lines. We did get to eat. Apparently everyone got to eat, so that's good. So we are nourished and having a good time. And let's see, for me, I was with some people that I knew and some people that I didn't know. I saw a lot of social media people around, and yeah, I was doing a little work here for Beyond the Mouse here and there. Anyway, so I was starstruck all day, but yeah, so I was with these friends, and we were and I kind of, for someone who I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and then I'm going back to my room. Well, this day I'm going to be here the whole day, and I'm with my friends. And well, it became evening, and it was going to be time because I knew that since Enchantment was new, and I had been a couple of nights before to the final night of Happily Ever After. I knew these people are serious, and I know my Disney people, and people are going to get there early to wait. When I was at Disneyland's 60th anniversary, we did I did an overnight, and we got in at like 4:00 in the morning, but when the park actually opened at 6, there were people lining up on Main Street to sit down to watch the Paint the Night parade that was 9:00 at night. So they were there for 12 hours. And I'm like so I knew that people never underestimate a Disney fan. So I was with my group. We were kind of being casual. I was with some friends. We had a Dole Whip, which love them. And then I'm kind of going, maybe by 6:30, we should maybe want to go to Main Street. And they kind of unknowingly, because they're fans, but they're at a different level than I am, and they, you don't have to do that. Why do you have to do that? And I'm like going, well, I'm with my friends. I'm like going, it's a low-key day. I'm going to spend the time with them. I can see this another time and all this. Well, then it came time. Well, hey, let's go. Let's go get in line. And so we get to Main Street, and Main Street, Main Street towards Town Square is full. And so there's plenty of people around the hub and all this. And the thing is, you don't want to stand in front of anyone else who's been there for 5 hours, because then could be a repeat of the Main Street experience, or excuse me, the Emporium experience. But everyone was chill. I mean, there were lots of people there during a pandemic situation, and I was masked, but we got there. Oh yeah. One of my friends, said, I have to apologize because I really didn't think that you were serious. And I'm like going, oh yeah. Well, that was my experience. So who all hung out? John, did you go? You had experienced.
I didn't see it on the first. I saw it the night prior.
Yeah. So you had experienced the park. Did you head home? Or
on the first, I head home about 6 p.m. Yes.
Bravo for you, because you had
hard.
the marathon before, and you got to see your people. So now for the really people, for the three of us who, we're not at the media event. And so what was your experience like? So Brittney, why don't we go to you first? So what was your day like after you ate?
So this was the first time ever in our history of visiting Disney that we took a break in the middle of the day.
Oh,
we had gotten to ride everything. There were no parades to see. We had seen the cavalcades. We were tired. So we went home and then came back around dinner time, I suppose. And when we left the park at like 3:00, there were already people laying on blankets under umbrellas, all up against the castle, all around the hub. I thought people were in line for photos. Oh no, they were camping out for fireworks in full sun. All up and down Main Street. And then at the very end of Main Street by the train terminal, there were already some bloggers set up for some really good shots. I was like, man, who would do that? I'm like, you know what? These people, this is their job. Of course, I would do that. I would camp out all day if I, wasn't here as a visitor. If this was my work, of course I would do that. So kudos to them, because we love watching their content on YouTube, but sure. I don't have the patience to do that.
Yeah.
We got really lucky. So when we came back to the park, I don't remember the name of the shop, the 1971 shop on the right side of the street that had that huge line. There was no line. We walked right in. I got all my cool stickers from my class, and I got this shirt.
I got that shirt too. Yes, not that day though, but yeah.
Yeah, I was really surprised. So we did some shopping, and then we did some rides, and then we kind of, where the spoke goes into Tomorrowland, we were like, this will be a good place. So we're kind of walking through the crowd, and we found a spot to stand. Well, as it turned out, where we were standing was actually a walkway, but the cast members had given up on walkways at that point.
Yeah, they had.
It was just self-governance at that point. And nobody was rude or anything. They just were like, well, this is a lost, cause.
Yeah.
And so we ended up really kind of, because of broken rules, getting to kind of sneak in right where the Space Mountain hub meets with the circular part. So we could see the whole castle, the whole thing. And Tinkerbell went right overhead.
Yeah.
So we got really lucky. But we were there, I think we got in our spot at 8 p.m. So we sat down. There were a lot of people like, oh, we have friends over there. We just went to use the bathroom. Let us get through. And it's like, But if we're breaking the rules, they can break the rules. We gave them the benefit of the doubt and ended up with a really great spot. But COVID social distancing at that point was out the window.
Yeah. Yes. And actually, I think we must have been just a little bit in front of you. And so I was in a group of 5, 2 of us, my friend Don Pugh, hi Don Pugh, saw the popcorn. Is that popcorn over there? So she went towards popcorn and I'm like going, I'll go with you too. So we went over there, got the popcorn and some other, we got a strawberry bar. I enjoyed the strawberry bar. And came back and we kind of know, well, where are we? Yeah. Anyway. And then, so we tried to get back where we were, excuse us. And then we were kind of your situation. This is where we're going to be. The water that was for Gary, he'll have to wait for. But yeah, so we just kind of got stuck and it was a great place to watch because it was right in, the castle. It was great. So that was our experience. I went back to me again. Sorry. So John, you're at home and Brittney, you had a nap and came back and got a great place. So let's go to Melissa.
Yeah, so I did kind of like you guys, had lunch, rode some rides, did a little bit of shopping. And then my friends who had left to go back to the Contemporary, I was texting with them and they were just relaxing. And this was, I think, my second full day and wearing the mask the whole time. I just felt like I needed to go somewhere where I could take it off. And I wasn't finding that at the Magic Kingdom. Yeah. So, because it was hard. Anytime I found a spot, people like in the shade, people would come over. So what I did was I decided to walk over to the Contemporary and meet up with them. So I did that, went over to my friend's room. And that's when I saw the video on Twitter of everybody rushing the stage.
Oh, wow.
Because we had been kind of at the front. It was very easy to ignore the fact that there were, thousands of people behind us.
Yeah.
And I saw that and I was like, and I had seen the people camping out, like Brittney mentioned. And I was like, I cannot go back there. I just kind of knew at that point that going back and standing in that crowd for Enchantment was not my right choice. I was going to be at the Magic Kingdom. I was going to be able to see it like 3 other times. So I wasn't worried about getting to see it. I just knew that night was not my best night. So as a group, actually all my friends, we all decided not to stay. So it was kind of like one person said it and then everyone was like, okay, yeah, we're all out. This is too much for us because we're all kind of that same mindset. So what we did was we went to Disney Springs for dinner. We got a last minute reservation at One Bar George, which was great. Had some food, did a little bit of shopping there where it was less chaotic.
I bet.
And then we came back and watched it from my friend's room at the Contemporary because she had a different view.
Wow.
So
that is great.
Got some wine. It was very, classy. Nobody was crowding us. It was great. So that was my first experience.
And what a great view. I mean, that's a wonderful view from the Contemporary. Yeah. Wow. So now there were 2 of us, diehards in the Magic Kingdom. So we experienced, let's move to that. What's new for the 50th? Well, since we're here, John had seen it the night before. Melissa is watching it from the castle, and Brittney and I are really close to each other, watching it in the hub, but in wonderful view of the castle. So let's talk a little bit about Enchantment. John, since you saw it first, it's only fair that you go first.
Let me start off by saying I do not think it's as good as Happily Ever After. That being said, it was very magical for me. And the reason being is I had, the night of the media event, I was really, really blessed to have this front center spot that they gave me looking at the stage. And I'm just overwhelmed with emotion and being there for the 25th and looking up at the castle saying, I'm going to be there for the 50th and being there for the 50th. And I think it's Angela Bassett's voice telling me that the magic is in me and the whole overwhelming arc is, you are where you are supposed to be. It got me. I was not able to see any of the projections on Main Street because of where I was, but it was still magical. But I realized it didn't hit the crescendo for me, especially when Tinkerbell comes out, that build up. that Happily Ever After does. So I'm hoping in the future there's a Happily Ever After 2.0 that adds projections on Main Street.
Okay.
But I still liked it, and I would watch it again. And that Angela Bassett, she gets me.
Angela Bassett, she is the magic. I mean, the magic is in us, but she is the magic. I just listened to it again because I kind of collect the audio soundtracks that are available on YouTube. Download and put them in my car, and I have a playlist. And so I've listened to those again, and I think that it allows me to relive the moment, but also to hear the music and kind of get into it more. But okay, so let's see. So Melissa, were you you're not able to hear anything there, but you're able to see some things. Well, so that was good. So what was that like, watching it from a distance? And then whenever you did get to see it, what were your thoughts?
So I got to see it actually 4 times. I saw it from the Contemporary. I saw it from a Polynesian bungalow where they do pipe in the music. So that was a different experience.
Good.
And then I saw it in front and behind the castle. So between the 4,
overachiever.
I got to see it. I know,
impressed,
right?
So another reason to be impressed by you, Melissa, honestly.
Well, if I'm going to be there, right, you got to maximize your time. So I would say I agree with what John was saying. To me, the storyline didn't hit quite the same as Happily Ever After. I loved all the music. I'm a big Moana fan. There was definitely a lot of Moana in there. But for me, it was watching it with the people that I watched it with. Like, I think, like, I can feel like the tingles down my spine right now thinking about it because I watched it with like that group of friends.
Aww.
And the first time, I had never watched the fireworks from the Contemporary. I'd never even been in the rooms of the Contemporary. So that was so cool to see it that way. Same thing at the Polynesian. Getting to see it there was a completely different experience. And then we saw it kind of from the plaza viewing area. We grabbed a table there, which was a great spot. So between the 3, just being with the people made it really special. And I liked the message, we are the magic part. I liked the new song, but overall, I preferred Happily Ever After as a story. But this will always be special because it was the 50th and I was there with those people.
Okay, Brittney, you were kind of like right behind me there. What was your experience like? And did you get to see it again, or was what was your experience?
So we went back a second time and watched it from behind the castle, like right by the carousel. So when we watched it the first time, my husband had gotten separated from the group and did not want to fight back through. So he spent the night of the first walking back behind where like everything was a ghost town.
Oh,
he said, like, all the cast members had come out of the shops and off the rides, and they're all just talking, and like it was like the whole place was abandoned while the entirety of the park was in front of the castle. So he had kind of a really cool experience. So it was nice for us to kind of get to recreate that as a couple, especially when we've been part of a group, for he and I to just be able to break off on our own and then go have our behind the castle experience. It was romantic, having them go up overhead. So I am a fireworks purist. I love Wishes. I remember the Wishes soundtrack, I still have the whole thing memorized. I can sing it all off the cuff. And that was when it was about the fireworks. It was about the music and it was about the fireworks. And when they rolled out Happily Ever After and have continued with Enchantment is all of the stuff that they can do with the projections and the lasers and the lighting. And for me, it's like, I don't know where to look. It's ADHD and I don't even have it. And I feel like I spend so much time trying to follow the storyline that's being chased and projected all over the castle. And the songs are splicing so quickly that I miss the magic and the awe and the wonder of the fireworks. And so while I appreciate what they're doing with the technology, for me, it's like going to a laser light show. I need to kind of just like cloud my focus a little bit so it doesn't overwhelm me and just focus on the pyrotechnics. So I liked it. I liked the music. I liked the original song. I liked the message that it carried. And the only time I ever emote is in public is during fireworks, ever. Or on stage if I have to do it for the character. And so of course, you get emotional and again, having the fireworks back after the hiatus, because that, like the street performers and the fireworks being gone were what I thought took the sparkle away from Disney being Disney. And so to be able to be there on the first, in what felt like the first official night of fireworks for this show, felt really, really special. And I was really grateful to get to close out our experience with that.
Oh, that is great. That is great. I think, as far as the show, well, I'm a big fan of projections. That's kind of, I'm loving that. So it takes multiple views, because there's so much going on. But I think, now that I've listened to the soundtrack, I think something that I think is missing for me is, so we have instrumental versions of songs we all know, but I think sometimes it's the lyrics that are missing that, like Happily Ever After does have. And I think that people want to sing along, or I think that they knew that if they can weave a story that includes that, I think that is something that is a little missing in this. I mean, I love the orchestrations and all, but I think I miss some of the, I guess the old school songs, When You Wish Upon a Star and some of that, because, that's, I mean, it's a legacy. If you have legacy souvenirs, you should have legacy songs in your fireworks, so anyway, so that, that is like the only kind of, I guess, thing that was, it didn't make me cry. It made me feel good, and it made me feel good to be there. And Angela Bassett, as you said, I'm like going, it is magic. I just love that. So that's kind of our experience there. Well, let's move on to some other things that were new for the 50th. The next was Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, and it was supposed to open on October 1st. In fact, John, we had plans to be on there on the 2nd, and you said, "Don't you ride that until," and I'm like going, I didn't, but you're an annual pass member and all of that. And so I didn't give you permission, but I just said, don't feel bad that we are not.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
First time, so I'm like going, so I just kind of, because I knew that you were going to do it. So I'm like going, might as well give him permission. You have my blessing. Go on Remy's Ratatouille Adventure whenever you can. And, so anyway, so what was that like for you all? And I'll finish up here. I will be the host, the kind host, and let you all go first. So we'll kind of go in order of appearance. So I'm sure, John, you saw it first. So what was it like for you?
I really loved it. I thought, I think I knew what to expect. I think it's a perfect addition to France. I think it's a great little adventure. It's not the most amazing attraction in the world. I do think there's a lot that people miss. They're busy looking at the screen, and if you don't look left, right, up, and down, you do miss a lot of the physical, practical effects that, to me, make it very engaging. Mm-hmm. And I love the whole freezer section the best. But yeah, I liked it a lot. I think it's perfect.
Great. And Brittney?
I loved it. That's one of my favorite movies. And,
oh, sure. Yes. Me too.
They just brought every part of the movie to life. And, you felt like you were, I think that's when you get to feel like a little kid, or you get to feel little in this big, big world. That's something really cool. And, it was just magical. And absolutely, John, you are correct. There were things that I was like, oh my gosh, and then it was gone. Or, oh my goodness. So definitely one of those rides that I will ride again and again and again and see new things every time.
Yep.
But well done. I love the autonomous vehicles. They really
oh my gosh.
take the concept and run with it. And they could have fallen into the pitfall of having similarities between the rides that use those, and they are so completely different.
Yeah.
So bravo.
I agree 100%.
That's great. So Melissa, what was did you get to ride Remy's Ratatouille Adventure?
Yeah, I did. I thought it was really cute. I love Ratatouille as well. It's one of my favorite movies, and I really liked the freezer scene. That was my favorite part, with all the giant foods and going through there. And I thought it was really cute. So I liked the whole area. We did the creperie afterwards, and did like the 3-course prefix menu, which was really great, and the fountain. And I just think it's like a really neat little area that they've added in there. So I like the whole ambiance of the experience.
I do too. And I've got to ask, okay, this is a question. I have no sense of smell, so I say I don't live in the smelling world. So, it's like, I guess Soarin' and so many other attractions have And Spaceship Earth. I'm sorry. Ooh, Spaceship Earth is all about the senses too, and some people have candle companies that sort of we'll talk about that. Anyway, I see. I need a smelling interpreter. So when I was in Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, I'm like going, I wonder, are there smells there?
Yes.
Are there?
Yes. The only one I remember is at the very end. It is the strongest smell of fresh bread, and it is
really?
intensely delicious. I mean, it is the best fresh bread. Did you guys get it? Brittney and Melissa, did you get the bread?
I remember being so overwhelmed by all my other senses that I don't remember the sense from that. But in general, I feel like Disney dialed up the concentration of all their scents and smells in all the rides. Like I felt like the rum in Pirates of the Caribbean was stronger this time than I ever recalled it. And
oh my God, hold on. I've never smelled rum in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Me neither.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe it was my breath. I don't know.
No, I got to check for that. That's probably a thing.
In the scene where the guy is passed out with the little piggies and you're going under the bridge, it is so strong. And like, I smelled new things, several new scents in Pirates, and in obviously Soarin' has all the scents. But I really feel like they dialed up their scentometer, maybe because of COVID. They're like giving it back.
Yeah, I'm like going, some of these people don't smell as well as they used to. And I'm like,
notice new layers with that this time, but not in Remy. So I'll have to.
Yeah, at the end scene, you'll get the bread. But I didn't get it till I didn't realize it like you. I was overwhelmed until the second time I wrote it.
Huh.
Yep.
And Melissa, be my nose. So did you experience
I didn't get too many of the scents, but I was wearing a KN95 mask.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I needed the smells to be dialed up for sure.
Maybe
to
that's
be able
why
to get
they did
them.
it. Yeah.
So I did. I got them on Soarin' and I got them on Spaceship Earth. I've never smelled the rum in Pirates though, so that's a new one. But
and is let's see, Flights of Passage, are there smells there too?
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
There were.
Wow. See, I don't live in that world. I'm sorry?
The liquids were back. So that was one thing that went away. That I feel like the scents went away, and the liquids experiences that are the mists and things were all gone during COVID, and it's all back.
Yeah. Yep. Well, great. Well, thank you. Thank you for being my nose there. So it's a whole new world for me. See, yeah, I don't understand that. So let's move on to the next new entertainment for Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary. Since we're in France, let's stay for Harmonious. So again, so John, when did you see Harmonious? I saw it? Yeah,
the 29th. Here I'm going to get killed by a few people. I love the music to Illuminations, but I am bored to death of Illuminations.
Of Illuminations? Oh, yes. The old show?
Yes, okay. When that little globe comes in with the few pixels that it has, I am just bored for 15 minutes.
Yep.
So I am thrilled with the machinery that I see in the lake, this octopus of arms that is creating fireworks and fountains and these beautiful crystal clear images. That being said, Disney, who is always about story, I feel kind of didn't weave me a really great story as much as they wanted to show. IPs, cultural from each country, which I love. I think they could do more to bring it together in story and give us more of the great music that they created for Harmonious. They just don't use it a lot or give it to us enough. Okay. So I think because of this machine, they can repair everything that I think is wrong with it. I just feel that they can, tweak the images, tweak the music, tweak the show. But I love what we've got as far as the technology for it.
Good. No, I saw it on the 30th. And we'll go in that order. So I'll go next. I'm being a bad host. I was next, but we're going chronologically. So there is some method to this madness, which is my world. Okay. So I went on the 30th again, the night before the big anniversary. And I kind of watched it from, I was by Canada. I was closer to the center, watching it kind of from the front. And how did I explain it? I said I thought it was an interesting artistic interpretation of music with kinetic sculpture, fireworks, fountains, projections, and I found it very interesting. Now that is a little non-committal, honestly, but I spin things in a positive way. But uh, I I liked it. I like well any show that ends with someday from Hunchback of Notre Dame theater piece, I gotta love. And and Brittany, you would love it. You would love it too because it was a Nathan song, and that's a good friend of ours that unfortunately passed way too young. But it was a very important song for him, and he loved that. So that was a little shout out from Nathan, which I certainly appreciated. So, um, so that. But then, like when I'm like going, I got to get out of here because I got to go to bed. so, so I'm traveling with my friends because they were staying at the Caribbean. So I'm traveling away, and there's still some projections and some more music going on, and I'm seeing it from the United Kingdom, and I'm like going, well, that it sort of took my breath away. I'm like going, well, that's a different angle. I think I really want to see it from here. So I think I have to do the dinner thing. I've never had dinner at Rose and Crown Pub ever. I did a commercial there once for World Fest. It was 1927. But I want to see it from there because all of this artistic, kinetic energy and movement and sculpture and all this, I want to see it from there. But so I'm looking forward to seeing it again. And also I like listening to it again because all the Coco songs, I mean that was a fan favorite, and some of the others. So that was my experience. I can't wait to see it again, and I'll watch it from Rose and Crown Pub, hopefully. Yeah. So Melissa, why don't we go to you? What day did you see it? I'm doing it chronologically, so I'm kind of taking a guess here.
I saw it on the 2nd.
Okay. And Brittany, when did you see it?
So we were supposed to see it on the 2nd, but we dined our way around the world and were completely food drunk and tired. And 4 of us in the party left before it happened, but I had great reports from the people who saw it. So
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah,
So you have yet to
go
see
back.
it. Okay.
Yes, and we were going to go back and see it on Monday night, but we went back to Magic Kingdom instead. And so I'll have to see it at some point during the
Okay.
year, and it sounds like I might have to see it from several vantage points to
I
really
think so.
appreciate it.
Yep. So, okay. So Melissa, where did you see it from and what did you think?
So I saw it right by the Canada booth. So there's
Oh,
kind of one of those spaces where it does the little like loop out, and they have some standing tables. And so we got there, I think maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours early, and kind of just set
Oh,
up like a home
wow.
base there for a group of
Mm-hmm.
friends. Went and got beers and brought them back and food and all that good stuff. So my friends had seen it on the 30th as well from a similar spot that they said. So they said that was a good spot. And it was. You could see all of the arms, the tentacles moving. You could see the middle, this big circle, sort of middle barge and the side barges. And I thought it was really pretty. It reminded me a little bit of like World of Color from Disneyland with the
Mm-hmm.
projections on the water and
Mm-hmm.
all the music and that kind of thing. So, which I really liked. And I liked the way that they did like all the different countries represented through the lyrics of the songs and doing them in the different languages. I thought that was really cool. So I really liked it. I think of I've seen the last 3 shows. It was probably my favorite. Don't necessarily love the barges during the day being there. Wish
Right.
they could
Yeah.
wheel them in and out, but I get it.
Yeah.
So I would definitely see it. I thought it was
Cool.
really, really pretty and just a great show.
Good.
And
Good.
lots of fireworks too, which was nice.
Yeah, lots. See there, Brittany. You can get your fireworks fix at Epcot sometime
Mhm.
soon. That would
Yes,
be
and
good.
my son stayed behind and watched it, and he
Oh, uh-huh.
said it was by far the most impressive fireworks display he had ever seen at Disney.
Mhm.
Cool. Well, hey, so there's another fan and another
Mhm.
opinion, and so that's really good news. So, John, I have to agree with you that Illuminations, some people say, "Where's Illuminations?" They need to let go. They need to go to what was Maelstrom, and there's people that are missing Maelstrom. They need to go. They need to hear Elsa sing "Let It Go," and they just need to, I think. But anyway, so those are my thoughts too. I'm like going, let's see what's new. And the other thing is about any of these entertainments, about Enchantment or Harmonious. I was thinking as I was making my way to the Disney Skyliner, trying to get some sleep. I'm like going, can you imagine the task? I'm going to create the new entertainment. I work at Imagineering in my dreams. I work at Imagineering, and I'm going to create the new entertainment that is going to replace such and such. And everyone who comes to Walt Disney World has to love this. That would be a very daunting task. And I can't imagine, even starting that. So you kind of, what I especially liked about Harmonious is that it was very much it was artistic interpretation. I think it was kind of elevated. It was kind of, and I'm like going, I didn't get all of it. And I don't think, and with real, sort of elevated art, not everyone's going to get it, and and it is open to interpretation. And yes, we have the songs that we're familiar with, but as far as the way the art is created is subjective. People are going to like it and people are not going to like it. And I was just open to it, and I can't wait to see it again. But okay.
You know what I think, Brett, is a really big thing is we have emotional connections to these shows. Mm-hmm. Like Melissa said, she saw it with her friends. So Enchantment now holds a little special place for her because the magic is in you. You saw it with friends. That's how you remember it. You open up a new show now, you don't have, I watched this with my daughter, my son, my kids. It's different. You have to build the memories now on that. Not to say that they don't have anything to do with the show itself, but it's an emotional attachment. There's no other way to say it.
That's a very good point. Thank you for that. But that's very good. Okay, so let's see. Well, so back to you, John. So John, this is an 18-month celebration, and you were at the press events, and you said something about Guardians of the Galaxy. So what is coming in the 18-month celebration?
Okay, well, let's see. For Magic Kingdom, we know Tron should be opening within the 18-month celebration. I cannot wait I'm not a Tron fan at all, the movies, but the coaster looks great to me. I love that it doesn't do loops and twists. I just want to glide and enjoy it. So that looks great to me. Epcot, Guardians of the Galaxy, Cosmic Rewind. What I loved was we were all thinking, how are they going to fit this into the park? Like, how are you really saying that Guardians fits into Epcot? But they did. They said, listen to this. The Xandar Pavilion will be that's their planet's pavilion. The Xandar people, just like the countries, wanted to have a pavilion at Epcot. Okay, I'm totally sold, and I got it. It's the easiest thing to accept now. And of course, something goes wrong and they need your help, blah, blah, blah. So that's good. There's supposed to be 150 different food items property-wide.
Wow.
The beacons of light. I'm sure you guys saw the ball light up. We know about the castle. I haven't seen Tower of Terror yet, nor have I seen the tree, which I heard was just brief. I don't think there's too many things over at Animal Kingdom that I can think of.
The kite.
Kite tails. I saw kite tails.
What'd you think of that? I didn't see
it. It's very cute. It's very cute. It's hotter than the surface of the sun sitting out there. But I thought the kites were really sweet.
That's good.
And the ones that are not the giant characters are very cool, the way that they manipulate them and have them do like all these kind of tricks in the air. So I think, like, especially if you have kids, I think it's worth seeing. I thought it was really sweet.
Online.
That is good.
People online just want to rip it apart.
I thought it was sweet. And they're supposed to crash land. So we sat near the crash landing space. And they're supposed to do that, but it is kind of funny when they land.
Baloo just crushing his face on the stairs. People are like, ah.
Yeah, been there, done that. I think, there is this certain Disney fan contingency that, is all up for a fail and is certainly going to tell you about it. In fact, when I was on the anniversary date, I happened to see a YouTube vlogger that I follow was coming out of Pecos Bills going, well, I waited 2.5 hours for this. I'm like going, okay, you're just creating content and controversy. But anyway, well, it's good to know. I'm like going that the kites are fun and worthwhile. I can't wait to see it. I haven't seen all of the beacons of light because I was spending all my time with my friends because that was a 3-day event. We were in the parks, and then I did something on Saturday night and then did something on Sunday afternoon. So I've got to go experience this anniversary. I feel like I've only started, taking dip my toe into the 50th celebration. So why don't we go to all of us? Let's see. Brittney, why don't we go with you first with our favorite memories of Walt Disney World's 50th opening weekend experience, this vacation that you had with some friends?
Yeah, it's hard to pin down when you ask me for my favorites,
Oh,
but
I'm sorry. Yeah.
this was our
I
very
was there. We had a good time. Next. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
This was our very first DVC stay, so
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of magical in and of itself. And to get to do that with a group of friends and family. It's the second time my son and I have gotten to go and really enjoy it kind of as adults,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which is a different feel. And he got this awesome picture in front of Tower of Terror, Beacon of Light. He ran across the park after we got done having dinner or having drinks at the cantina to try to ride it one more time. And they had just shut down all the rides. The whole place is empty. You would swear he did it on a green screen. There is not a person but him and the photographer in front of Tower of Terror.
Oh, wow.
So he got some really cool
That is a great
pictures,
memory.
and he's the kind of guy that likes to go early and stay all the way late. And
Oh,
so we
wow.
get to have that kind of an experience. And just like the pleasant surprise that we really got to enjoy things. I
Mhm.
think we were so worried about the crowds and still worried about the limited offerings and how that would affect crowd control. And I think our favorite experience was that we got to just meander and be spontaneous and just take our time and see things that have been there forever that we've never really taken the time to pay attention to. I rode the carousel for the first time.
Oh,
I've
wow.
been to
Oh,
Disney
yeah.
more times than I can count, and I've never ridden the carousel. Had we not had to wait 30 minutes for our food at Pinocchio's Village House, I never
Right.
would have done that to kill time.
See, meant to be. How cool.
Yeah, and we got some cool merch. I got my ears.
Oh, uh-huh.
Oh, and this was a fun notorious memory. So I thought we were going to get kicked off the property before we even got to the first.
Oh, yes.
Did I tell you about this?
Yes, at dinner, but it was fun. It was, yeah, there was, yeah.
So we went to Disney Springs to do our shopping before the day of, because I was like, I don't want to carry merch around the parks. If they're not taking it back to our room for us, I'm not dealing with that. So we got, they had a really cool shirt in the 50th section. It's this one that has the castle. You can tell I love a good baseball tee. And it's got the iridescent stuff on the back. I found one display and they were all extra smalls or 3Xs. And I look at the mannequin and it's my size. And I'm like, sweet. So I start undressing the mannequin like you do in any retail store.
Oops.
I was told on. Somebody ran and got a cast member and tattled on me. And she was not happy. She's like, you are not supposed to touch the mannequins. And I'm like, I am so sorry. It's the only one. She goes, they are all over there in that section. And I'm like, this is it. And as she's kind of chastising me, every t-shirt in the pile is gone. So I was like, well, you're going to have to change it anyway, because you don't have any more to sell. So the one on the mannequin's kind of a moot point. Do you want me to put it back on? She goes, don't touch the mannequin. And I was like, do you want the shirt back? And she's like, it's fine. Just take it. And I was like, we're going to get kicked out of Disney World and we didn't even get to go.
Oh, yeah.
And we're not like those people.
No,
in my head,
no.
it was like, it's my size. They're sold out. There's
Right.
nobody anywhere to ask. I'll just undress
Right.
the mannequin.
Yeah. It was completely innocent. So I completely believe your innocence, and you have it. And every time you wear it, you'll have a story. Do you want to know a story? Do you want to hear? Yeah. So that'll be
that
fun.
time I
That
almost
is a
got
fun
kicked
memory.
out. Yeah.
That is a fun memory. I mean, I'm glad that, you did get to experience the rest of your vacation and weren't in.
I didn't just go and get a t-shirt and that's
Yeah,
it.
that would have been,
That's the mannequin undresser.
Yeah. So,
Yes,
get her.
There's the Emporium punch out and then the mannequin undresser. I me too the
Right.
mannequin.
I'm like going, oh, wow. So Melissa, what are your kind of takeaways from, and you didn't have a bad takeaway. You had good takeaways. You did not have, bad experience or anything that made you stay a little bit longer. So what are your takeaways from your 50th experience?
Yeah, I'm just so glad that I came. I think for me, right up until the end, it was a question of, is this the right thing to do or not? Should I be going? Going with a group of people, meeting you, Brett, meeting up with my friends, where everyone just does Disney the same way. I had never experienced that before. And I think being there on the first, one of my friends had sent out a text basically being like, these are not normal Disney people. These are us, and you need to, take it to the next level if you're going to survive. So
I agree.
it was very cool to be there with people who were, just like me, a little bit crazy, a little bit of a Disney fanatic, but we all just wanted to be there. And so I think for me, it's just the memories I created with those friends, getting to meet them in person. I got to ride all the rides I hadn't ridden, do all the new stuff. And just, I think it was such the perfect timing, because had we had, Disney Genie Plus and had to do all of that planning, you wouldn't have had the spontaneity of just meeting up with people, of doing whatever we felt like doing, getting there early, staying late, kind of just, free flow, which I've never done, but I still got to do everything that I wanted to do. And so it's kind of just like this perfect moment in time, I think. Oh. And I'm really excited to hopefully go back, be able to do a few of the things that I missed, but overall, it was 100% worth it.
Great. Oh, that is so good. Well, it was so nice meeting you and experiencing Rise of the Resistance for the first time. And my big thing was, don't spoil it for her. Don't spoil it for her. She has been so good. So I was happy about that. Okay, John. So are you going tomorrow? So
No.
Are you going tonight?
No, I'll
what an option,
probably. It is nice to live here. That's why I live here from New York. Remember, I was
Sure.
just like you. I had to move down here. So you have to come. But my memory was that meetup. That was my big thing, was singing on Carousel of Progress. And it definitely was, I'm not just saying this, turning around while I was trying to do my PR and make everybody happy and seeing your face, but not knowing that it was you for a second. Right. I saw a little bit of the ginger blonde beard and I went, Brett. Yes, it was great. Did you see how shocked I was? I really didn't expect you.
Yes, there was some joy there that I'm like going, that made my heart feel good. So I'm
good.
Like,
it was completely genuine.
It was fun. Completely. So that was fun. Well, I can't wait, for the next time. I will, hopefully be maskless and you'll go, there's Brett. I recognize him. So, but wow. Well, thank you. Gosh, this has just been the best. I think, as I mentioned before, I mean, I have a new Disney friend. I have a new Canadian Disney friend. So it's my Canadian friend, Melissa. Shout out to my other Canadian friends, Jen and Rob and Martin and Brent. I'm going to get you on the podcast too. I know I'm kind of, mixing the order of, that I know you to get on this show, but you'll be on. So, so thank you all so much for being here and sharing these experiences, because we were there, and I thought when I saw all of you there, I'm like going, this is a podcast. So I'm so happy that we're doing this. So, but John, for all of our podcast listeners that are out there, and for all of us here, how can we see you and see your work?
Thank you so much. If you go to bigfatpanda.com, it goes to Facebook, it goes to YouTube, which is my big claim to fame in my head. And that's really it. Bigfatpanda.com. Thank you.
Sure. Well, and then there's that trivia, which happens about every
other Tuesday. Yeah. And I love catching, for those of you that don't know, I try to catch Brett. You have to answer fast in order to get the best points. So I'll put something like, I'll show a picture of the Polynesian and I'll say, this is my favorite hotel. And I'll have, 4 answers, and I'll put right after that, choose any other answer except for the correct one. Yes. He doesn't read that far. I didn't. And once you answer, you can't change it. Melissa, it's true. He texted me and I'm like, did I get you? He's like, you did. And I know he wants to. You did. Haha. But 80% of the other people got it wrong also. So
yeah. Well, I'm in good company, you sneaky person, you. Well, it is lots of fun. So if you're out there listening to our podcast and you're a Disney fan like we are now, you've got to enjoy that, because sometimes there's prizes too. And we're there and other bloggers are there. So we have lots of fun. So oh, wow. This has just been great. So, wrapping up here. So if you're new to Beyond the Mouse podcast, thank you so much for listening. And we have well over 100 episodes for you to catch up on. And we do talk Disney with friends and all this, but we talk to some amazing people with amazing Disney connections and amazing Disney careers. And we're so happy and so fortunate to speak with them. So yeah, check that out. So you can find Beyond the Mouse podcast wherever you find other favorite podcasts. And we'd also love to hear from you, so you can reach out to us on various social media outlets. Beyond the Mouse on Twitter, we're Beyond the Mouse Pod on Instagram, and there's 2 ways to reach us on Facebook. Beyond the Mouse Podcast is our main page, and we'd love you to join us on Beyond the Mouse Podcast Pals, where we have some special previews and polls and so many other ways to connect and reach out to all of our podcast pals. So wow. So thank you so much for listening. And so for Beyond the Mouse, I'm Brett.
I'm Brittney.
I'm Melissa.
I'm John.
And we'll see you real soon in the front row. Maybe we'll all be at Walt Disney World's 50th celebration again. How's that?
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. See you there.
See you there. Oh, so good.